Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New York Buddha Dharma. Our center was founded by students of Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and we are very delighted this evening to present a talk about Tara and her 21 emanations. In Sanskrit, I am known as Tara. In Tibetan, I am known as Drolma. In English, I am known as the Great Liberator Heroine. With love and compassion, I relieve the suffering of all sentient beings. I have 21 emanations, but I am really your own true nature. If you need my help, just call my name. My mantra is Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tara Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tutare Ture Soha. That's a message from Tara. Trungpa Rinpoche, who's a great Kagyu master, said that this actually was the year of Tara, because now we need her more than ever, her amazing energy. And Khenpo Tsultrim Gyamtso Rinpoche said that if you practice Tara, you don't need any other practices. Tara is everything. Once, when Khenpo Rinpoche was in New York, some of his students gave him a boat ride around the island. And when he saw green Tara, which is the Statue of Liberty, he said, "Ah, Tara," and he started supplicating and throwing rice. So when I saw him after that, I said, "Rinpoche, is it true that the Statue of Liberty is really green Tara?" And he said, "If one has faith." Because I guess in Buddhism or in anything else, faith is the hook. And then Tara is the, sort of like the nail. So if you have faith in Tara, then you're one. But if you don't have faith in her, well, you probably will never call on her. And so I don't know. I don't know how she works. But once I was in a train station in Kyoto, in Japan, many years ago, and someone had told me that Tara, especially green Tara, was someone you could call upon if you were lost. So there were so many people running around in the train station looking to catch their trains. I didn't know where I was going because every sign was in Japanese, and I don't speak Japanese or read Japanese. So I remembered Tara. I stood very still, and I said, "Tara, please help me," because I had to catch a train to Kobe. And within 2 minutes, I was right on the platform, getting on the train. Someone stopped, asked me if I needed help, and brought me right over to the station. And those are the kind of miracles that one can experience if one has faith in Tara. Because Tara is, when you see depictions of Tara, it's usually her foot, her right foot. She's sitting on a lotus flower, and then her right foot is down on the ground, usually on top of a lotus flower, and she's ready to jump up to help as soon as you ask her. Tara is the only practice, one of the only practices in Tibetan Buddhism that I know of that you don't really need any transmissions to do her practice. She's very simple. She said, "If you want to practice, just call my name." There's no formality. I mean, there are formal practices that one can do, formal practices one can receive from great teachers. Like Khenpo Tsultrim Gyamtso gave us a Tara practice, and many of his students sing and recite and do his Tara practice. Trungpa Rinpoche didn't really emphasize Tara. I don't remember him ever teaching about Tara. Do you, John? No. So the first time I really received a practice for her was from other Buddhist teachers. And usually, when we think about Tara, we see tankas. Tankas are Tibetan paintings usually on cloth. We see tankas of like a white Tara, a green Tara. Sometimes it's a red Tara, but usually it's white or green or red. But anyway, Sasha, I have my cards. Yeah, sit down. Anyway, a few years ago, I saw this book online. It says Tara's Enlightened Activity. And it was written by who we refer to in New York as the Khenpo brothers, but Khenpo Palden Sherab and Khenchen Palden Sherab and Khenpo Sewang Donggyal. And I immediately ordered the book because I've always been very interested in Tara. And here's Tara's Enlightened Activity. When I was reading this book, it was very extraordinary because there was one chapter for each of the 21 Taras. This Tara is just one figure, but she emanates in 21 different forms, depending on what her activity is. So I couldn't believe all this information that these Khenpo brothers were giving us about Tara. And I'd never heard it before, and especially because there were so many different types of Taras, like wrathful Taras, peaceful Taras, semi-wrathful Taras, different colored Taras. And also, this one thing that they were talking about was that each Tara had a special sacred implement that she held in her left hand. And every tank I've ever seen of Tara, all you could see was a blue utpati flower. They always say she holds an utpati flower in her left hand. And I'd never heard of these implements before. So immediately I thought, well, this would make kind of like a nice performance piece. You know, you have like a 21 Tara mandala, and you've got like some, because we have like a little, Sasha and I have this little theater company, the Milarepa Children's Theater and Chorus, and we thought, well, it would be so kind of cute to do this with kids. And the only thing we did at that time was get like white t-shirts for the kids and then put a color of whatever color they were and a number on the back. And we made a Tara mandala. And then we kind of just forgot about it for a while and did other things. And then a couple of years ago, for some reason, it was always in the back of my head to come back to the Tara piece that we had done. And for some reason, we thought, well, we could do it with more elaborate, like writing a play or like writing a little opera or something like that. And I was thinking about those objects that she was holding, and I thought, maybe we could find some of these objects and show them in the play. But nobody knew anything about them. There was like a total mystery. Everyone I spoke to, even Tibetan teachers, no idea what I was talking about. And they said, oh, just have like a little picture of it. Like a little, you know, it's called a sakali. Little picture of it, and they could hold it. And I said, no, I want the real thing. For some reason, I was very determined to get the real thing. And then it would be kind of more authentic, I guess. In any case, I was reading in this book that the original book that I read, which I haven't read in a couple of years, except for I hadn't read the introduction, the history of Tara. So what he says, the Khenpo brothers say here, is the early history of Tara practice. In the course of the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, Buddha Shakyamuni gave many teachings on Tara within the categories of outer Tantra, inner Tantra, and the Great Perfection, or Zongpa Chenpo. All of these, including the 21 praises to Tara, became very popular in India. They were brought to Tibet in the 8th century at the time of Guru Padmasambhava. King Trinsen Detsen and Master Shantaraksika, they wanted these Tara teachings to come. Guru Padmasambhava gave many Tara teachings to his art students, including King Tritsun Tetsun and the wisdom Dakini Yeshi Sogyal, who was his consort, who was herself an emanation of Tara. A lot of people don't know that. Everybody knows Yeshi Sogyal, but a lot of people don't know she was an emanation of Tara. Over the next few centuries, Tara became one of the most popular and powerful deities of Tibetan Buddhism. Then he goes on to talk about the types of practices they did. In any case, these teachings started to fade, like most teachings, not most, but a lot of teachings that are very popular at some point, they kind of like fade away for some reason. And then people were doing less and less of the formal Tara practices. And I think that's what happened. That's what happened to the Tankas. Because I bet that in the early days when people were painting Tankas, they were painting in these implements that she was holding. But after a while, sorry. After a while, Tanka painters were just painting her like this beautiful goddess, but really Tara is an enlightened female Buddha. She's just not some beautiful goddess, some beautiful looking deity that's depicted in a painting. She has real powers. She's a Buddha. And then they became, I think, more ornamental in a way. Because even when you look at this, we have a Tara, 21 Tara Tanka painting on the wall. There are no implements in her hand. They're very beautiful. They show the different Taras, but it's just like a very beautiful, sweet figure. But really, who is she, and what is it she really does? And that's what the Khenpo brothers were talking about in their book. It's like they discovered some, because the Khenpo brothers are very, very learned scholars. I don't know if anyone here has studied with them, but they're like, the elder brother passed away a few years ago. He's an amazing person. And they're amazing, they're scholars. They really know Tibetan Buddhism left and right. So this is what happened. It became like a dharma that Guru Padmasambhava hid. The famous master who is called the Great Khyentse Yamnyang Khyentse Wangpo, held lineages of teaching from all schools of Tibetan Buddhism. Although born into a family of nobility, Khyentse comported himself simply and humbly, carrying his own luggage on pilgrimage. He was both the teacher and student of the first Khantrul Jamyang Khantrul, and was also a root teacher of Mipham Rinpoche. By their time in the 19th century, all three categories of Tara practices had already apparently vanished from the human realms, as we describe. However, Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo had special powers or cities, and by their use he brought back many of the discontinued teachings. Once, while traveling in central Tibet, the renowned female Dharmapala named Seringma, Seringma is a female practitioner that Khenpo Tsultrim Gyamtso always refers to. So Seringma appeared to him, offering all the Tara texts that had disappeared. With her were Guru Padmasambhava, Wisdom Dakini Yeshi Sogyal, and the Terton Reshi Lamo, who gave him empowerment, transmission, and instructions. You imagine? This is who appeared to him. By powers such as these, Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo brought back these and many other lost teachings of the lineage. He transmitted them to his foremost students, such as the great Tertons Chogyar Denchen Lingpa, Jamo Khantrul, and Mipham Rinpoche. All these masters later revealed famous Tara practices at many levels. Their disciples and lineage holders continue to this day. So that's pretty powerful, what they did. Anyway, when we first wrote this little performance piece for our kids, the Kempo brothers were giving a teaching. We performed it at the Shambhala Center. And they were giving a teaching at John Giorno's Gompa down on the Bowery, which is like the unofficial Nyingma Center in New York. Used to be anyway, I don't know about now. Now John is a very famous poet around the world. Anyway, I went there to see the Kempo brothers with the little piece that we had written. And one of the children in our theater company at that time, her mother was a student of the Kempos, a direct student. So she and I went up and we presented them with this piece. And they were so amazed, so overjoyed that someone read their book, made into like a little play for kids, and the kids actually performed it. They were like crazy. I mean, and they even signed the book. I came and brought my book, and they even signed it here. So, and there's a picture of the 16th Karmapa. Anyway, different lineage. But, so, okay, getting back to the talk. Finally, we decided to do a performance with Tibetan school in Queens with their summer camp this summer. So like 2 years ago, started again rewriting and making it into a bigger production, this Tara production. And one morning, I woke up and it was freezing cold, rainy winter outside. It was a Saturday morning, and right near my house there's a farmer's market, which I never go to. I avoid farmer's markets. I got this very strong message that I had to go to the farmer's market right away. I was like, there's no way I'm going out. And so you have to go to the farmer's market right away. I was like, okay, I'll go to the farmer's market. So I go outside, walk to the farmer's market, and for the first time that I've ever seen, there was a Tibetan man there with like 2 tables laden with all kinds of Tibetan artifacts. And I was like totally amazed. And on the table were a lot of the objects that we needed for our Tara production. I mean, a sword, a flaming sword, a Dharma wheel, all kinds of crazy things I never thought I would find. And there they were on his table. So 2 times, like 2 weeks in a row, I went to see him, and he kept bringing more stuff. And it was checking off my list. And then he never, ever came again. I don't even know if he was a real person. He was maybe an emanation of Tara. And he was like sitting there, and then he gave me this little book, kind of like a Nepali book, that had all kinds of details about different ritual objects for Tibetan Buddhism, Hindu, and all kinds of religions, which I kind of found things that I needed. In any case, why am I bringing all of this up? Because it adds another dimension to who Tara is. She's not just a pretty girl in a tanga. She's a real power, a force, and she's a female Buddha. And I think to study Tara and to supplicate her is a very powerful way of working with the situation in the world today. Okay. Let me just look at my notes. Okay, so then one of the things about Tara that's very interesting is that when she attained enlightenment, she was a princess living in a palace, and she was very dedicated. She had this feeling that she really wanted to practice the Dharma. And it was a different eon. It wasn't even Shakyamuni Buddha at that time. It was a whole different Buddha at her time. And the Buddha had predicted that Tara would come. And so Tara, this princess, attained enlightenment, and immediately everyone in her scene said to her, well, you should pray that in this very lifetime you transform into a man, because then you could really be powerful. And she said, no. Enlightenment is not about female or male. Enlightenment is just an energy, and I make a vow that there's no difference when you're enlightened if you're a man or a woman. And she said, I make a vow that in all my lifetimes I will always come back as a female, and I will always be here for everyone, for all sentient beings. And so that's why they call her the Great Mother, because she's the mother of everyone. So I have to say that a lot of the girls, the Tibetan girls, are named after Tara, many, many different Tara names. And I once said to one of the parents, Tibetan parents, I don't know if he understood me because he didn't speak English very well, because in our theater company, I said, you know, you name all the girls Tara, all the different names of Tara, but you treat them like second-class citizens. Tara is a female Buddha. Why are you discriminating against these girls? I could never figure that out. But anyway, he didn't have much to say because I don't know if he understood me or he didn't care to understand me. In any case, then last spring, I think in March, or maybe April, I was just like waking up in the morning very early, and I had this little voice that went into my head, and it said, get a photo shoot together and make 21 Tara cards and use one Tibetan girl to depict each Tara. And when I opened my eyes, and I was like, what's that all about? And then it was like kind of a real energy coming through that Tara wanted everyone to really see who she was and see the objects that we had collected. And at that point, we didn't even have all of them yet. We were still collecting some of them. They came from Nepal, they came from India, they came from the farmer's market, and some of these things even came from Tibet. So in any case, we did get a photo shoot together, and Sasha and I worked on getting the costumes and everything, and we did make up the Tara cards. I'll show them to you, and then we're going to go through all the different Taras, and very briefly to show and explain to you what each Tara is. Okay, these are the cards that we made. This is the lead card. It says, Tara and her 21 emanations. Which Tara are you today? Because every day you can ask Tara, who am I today, or who can help me today if you need help? And then in the back it gives the credits for everyone that worked on the shoot. And here's a picture of Tara number 1. So you see Tara number 1, and she's holding a conch shell in her hand, and she's a semi-wrathful red Tara. And on the back of the card is a description of who she is and what she does, and then an homage on how you can call upon her. And then on the very bottom, it gives an exact description of the object that she's holding. So it's kind of like study cards. They're magical study cards. You can read about Tara, you can understand who she is, and then also ask her for help. So you could say, please help me with whatever it is that you need help with. For instance, as an example, last night I came home really late, and the police were in my building, and there was an ambulance in the front, and I knew it must have been my upstairs neighbor who always has problems with like mental illness. So they wouldn't let me go upstairs. So I just sat down, and I said, well, maybe I'll ask Tara to help. And I took out my little pendulum and took out my little Tara, like 1 through 21 chart. And I said, okay, which Tara, here's the 21 chart, which Tara should I call upon? Wait, where's it? Here. Here's the chart from 1 to 21. So I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Which Tara should I call upon for help? And it went to Tara number 6. So, like, I put my pendulum over the chart. I said, which Tara should I call upon for this woman? And it went to Tara number 6. So I opened up the page, because here, this is the play book that we had. And we have all the Taras written out when we went for rehearsal. So I went to Tara number 6, and this is what it said. Dark red, wrathful Tara, mental illness. And she carries a purba, which is a ritual dagger. And it says, a tantric implement associated with Vajrakalaya and other wrathful deities. It symbolizes the subjugation of powerful negative forces, demons, and obstacles. Well, I would say mental illness have those components. So I immediately did this Tara practice. And I really felt the shift in the energy in the building and the shift of the energy with this person, because finally I felt like maybe now she could really get the help that she needs. And this morning, one of my neighbors that lives on her floor called, and she was really afraid to continue living there. And I said, I think things are going to change now, because I called upon Tara number 6, and she's on the job. Anyway, so now I just want to go through every Tara. And the first copy of the Tara cards that we made was given to the 17th Karmapa. And he was pretty awed, because everybody loves Tara. Okay, so Tara number 1 is a semi-wrathful Tara, and she proclaims the Dharma. And she holds a conch shell. Now, the conch shell that we had in the photo shoot was much bigger than this, but this is a picture of this is a conch shell. And maybe we could do this little exercise. If you close your eyes, and I'll just read this one, and just imagine yourself as this Tara. In Sanskrit, I am known as Tara. In Tibetan, I am known as Jetsun Drolma Nurma Pamo. In English, I am known as Liberator, Swift One Heroine. My color is red. I hold a blue utpatti flower in my left hand, excuse me, upon which stands a white conch shell, symbolizing the teachings of the Buddha. From my body and the conch shell come sounds of the fearless proclamation of the truth of the Dharma. If you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. Homage, Tara, Swift One, Heroine, whose eyes flashed like lightning, who appeared in a tear from Avalokiteshvara's right eye, with the expression of his supreme love and compassion. Please liberate me and all sentient beings from the suffering of this dark age and transform ignorance into wisdom. Thank you, Tara. The conch shell symbolizes the right-turning conch shell, one of the 8 auspicious symbols, signifies the fearless proclamation of the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. So that's Tara number 1. Tara number 2 is white peaceful Tara, beauty, art, and music. Now, there are about 4 or 5 white Taras. White Tara is the only Buddha, the white Tara Buddhas, that sit in a lotus position. And on her feet, in her hands, and in her forehead, on the bottom of her feet, are eyes, because she is said to see everything. And the other Taras sit with their right foot on the floor, so that they're able to spring up quickly. interestingly enough, you only see one white Tara, so you never know who these other Taras are. But there is one practice called the white umbrella, which is Tara number 18, I believe, or Tara number 19. And the white umbrella has like 1,000,000 eyes all over her body. So what they did was they just put some eyes on her and made her into like a white Tara with eyes on it. But really the meaning behind it is that white umbrella Tara with all the millions of eyes and thousands of hands and arms and legs. So, okay, the next Tara is white peaceful Tara, and she holds a Meilong mirror in her left hand. The Meilong is a round mirror, and I recently saw a Tibetan teacher do a ritual practice and took out a Meilong mirror. And when I saw that, I said, oh, that's what a Meilong mirror looks like, because I never even knew what it was. But it's kind of concave and it's golden or brass. And what it does is, it's the symbol of emptiness and pure consciousness. It is unbiased and unaffected by what it reflects, revealing all phenomena to be empty in essence. So what her job is, she said, my color is very rich white, the light of 100,000 autumn moons. I am the symbol of beauty, art, and music. I hold a blue pati flower in my left hand, upon which stands a Meilong, a ritual mirror, in which all wisdom is completely reflected. From my body and the mirror radiates out light, dispelling ignorance and gathering knowledge and wisdom. If you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. So you can supplicate her, and it says how to do it. But this Tara, the white peaceful Tara, is like radiating light out, helping sentient beings. So you can call upon her to help you. Let's say, you're a musician and you need help with your work, so you can ask Tara. You can say, please empower me and all sentient beings. But instead of saying, please empower me and all sentient beings, you could say, please help me with my violin or my piano, or please help my child do his the practice for his viola or whatever. And then you just put in what you want. So this is just kind of like a guideline, a sort of like a roadmap of what you can do to really make it your own. And Tara number 3 is a golden, peaceful Tara, spiritual wealth. And in her left hand she holds a wish-fulfilling jewel, a symbol of skillful means. The Buddha said, this is my favorite Tara, the favorite wish-fulfilling jewel. When you think of a wish-fulfilling jewel, you're thinking like gold, riches, diamonds. And I was like calling my friends, what would Trungpa Rinpoche say a wish-fulfilling jewel is? And we were trying to figure it out. And then one day I went to a school fair, and there was a crystal there with a beautiful gold citron crystal, a big chunk. And I was like, that's it. That's the wish-fulfilling jewel. So I got that. And according to the Buddha, he said, within your own mind, you already have the skillful means to succeed. And what is the Buddha's version of success? The ability to put others ahead of yourself. This is called the wish-fulfilling jewel. So that's a different outlook. Okay, Tara number 4 is rich, golden, peaceful Tara. And her activity is life force. And she holds a sabum. A sabum is, I have to show you a picture of it because no one knew what this was, but I don't know if you can see it. This is a sabum. It's held by all the deities associated with long life, including Amitayas, White Tara, and Ujnishta Vijaya. Guru Padmasambhava holds a long life vase in his skull cup. So this is the long life vase, and it's a rich golden Tara. And you can call upon her he says here, homage crown of Tathagata, your Tathagata, your actions endlessly victorious, venerated by the disciples of the conqueror, which is the Buddha, who have attained every single perfection. Please empower me and all sentient beings with your vitality, energy, and life force for a long and healthy life. Thank you, Tara. So if you're sick or you know someone that's sick, you could always call upon her to help them and to do, like make it personal. Then the next Tara is a red, wrathful Tara. And in the Shambhala Sangha, her name is Kurukule. And some of these photographs, like this Tara, is peaceful, so she has beautiful, peaceful jewelry on. But for the wrathful Taras, we gave her bone ornaments and skulls in her hair. And her energy is different. So Kurukule is a very famous red Tara, and she holds a bow and arrow in her left hand. And she says, my color is red, and I am often known as Red Tara. I hold a blue upati flower in my left hand, on which stands a bow and arrow. From my body and the bow and arrow emanates red wisdom light, protecting sentient beings by magnetizing everything beneficial to them. So it's not that she's a wrathful Tara and she's mean or she's aggressive, but she's magnetizing beneficial energy to people. And if you need my help, homage, Mother, filling the sky with our human realm, and our human realm with the sounds of Tutara and Hum, trampling the 7 worlds with your feet, able to summon all before you. Please protect me and all sentient beings with your wisdom light to help us rediscover our own primordial wisdom. Thank you, Tara. And the bow and arrow here, Kurukule's bow and arrow, often represented as flowers, symbolize the combined attraction and danger of the objects of the senses. So the senses here is what needs to be tamed. In this iconography tradition, which derives from Longchenpa, the bow and arrow are unadorned. So when I was trying to find a bow and arrow, I found this, like a ritual bow and arrow that they use in Tibet. And I bought it. And then after painstakingly using these different colored ribbons to do the whole thing and tie it together so it's like this beautiful bow and arrow, then I reread the book and it said unadorned. So I was like, I can't use this. And then I had to go back and use from one of our other plays, a bow and arrow from a play called, what was it called? A children's film, Brave. Anyway, Brave. And then the arrow came from Tibet. Okay, the next one is Tara number 6, which represents mental health, which I got from my upstairs neighbor. And for the photo shoot, we used this purba, because this is the purba that the Kempo brothers who wrote the book blessed for me like 20 years ago and told me to put like blue ribbon around it. And it's very powerful. So I won't read that again. And the Tara number 7 is a blue-black, wrathful Tara. It destroys negativity. And with that Tara, it's a flaming wisdom sword. As the implement of wrathful deities, it cuts through ignorance and severs and destroys demons and enemies of realization. Blazing fire is a symbol of Rigpa, primordial wisdom. So it's completely opposite of the implements of war that we think of, where we destroy people. And this is really destroying conceptual mind and the ignorance that people have. So it's a totally different way that Tara works with our energy. The next Tara is Tara number, it's a dark red, wrathful Tara, protects from bullies. And that's Tara number 8. So she says, hello, I am Tara number 8. In Sanskrit, I am known as Tara. In Tibetan, I am known as Jetsun Zinje Migyalma. In English, I am known as Invincible Lady. My color is dark red. I hold a blue pati flower in my left hand, on which stands a flaming vajra made of meteoric iron, and symbolizes my vajra wrath. From my body and the vajra flames comes blazing wisdom light, protecting sentient beings from maras, demons, troublemakers, and distractions. If you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. And this is a flaming vajra. And what is a flaming vajra? Like, I had no idea. A vajra, I know what it is. A flame, I know what it is. But a flaming vajra, couldn't find it, so just kind of made it. But in any case, it protects from troublemakers, bullies, people who criticize us or bring lawsuits, slay all our enemies with a frown of wrath. So flaming vajra is a symbol of the Tara's vajra wrath. Next Tara is Tara number 9. It's green Tara. Green Tara is the only, all of the Taras, the only one that's green. And of course, she's very well loved, and everyone knows about her, because when you call upon green Tara when you need help. But she really has so many interesting things about her, one of which is she holds a wheel of Dharma. But really, it isn't that she's holding the wheel of Dharma. It's kind of implanted in her hand, in her palm. And she just holds the wheel of Dharma. And a symbol of the Buddha's turning of the wheel of Dharma and the power of the Dharma to accomplish swift spiritual transformation. Number 10 is rich red wrathful Tara, helps us maintain our Dharma practice and study. And what this Tara holds is a banner, these ritual banners that a Tara holds, that you'd see in one of the 8 auspicious symbols. In ancient times, these adorned with the chariots and processions of victorious monarchs. The victory banner became a Buddhist emblem to symbolize Buddhist Shakyamuni's victory over the 4 Maras. Tara's crown here is known as this chakra or datum. So that's what this Tara does. She helps us maintain our Tara practice. Our Dharma practice and study. Orange-red wrathful Tara is the Tara of wealth. That's Tara number 11. And here she carries a treasure vase. And all around I shouldn't say around the world, especially in Asia, treasure vases are big. They come in all different kinds of shapes and sizes. You'll often see them in people's homes. And you put in little treasures like stones and things like that. So like a year ago, I went to Nepal to visit Khenpo Tsultrim Gyamtso and in Kathmandu. And I had my little list of things I had to get. So I went into this one little store, and the man there was Nepali, but he was a practicing Buddhist. And I said to him, what's a treasure vase? And he says, oh, you need a treasure vase? And he brings out this beautiful vase. And he said, I sell this to all the Tibetan lamas. They all come in here. There were 2 sizes. Oh, I want to show you. This is the victory banner. And this is the treasure vase. He said, they come in 2 sizes. One was small and one was big. And I said, well, if I'm going to get a treasure vase, I'm going to get a big one for Tara. So I said, well, what do I put in it? And then he said, you put all different kinds of stones in it, like diamonds, rubies, pearl, green stones, were emeralds. I was like, where am I going to get that? So he had like a little kit with the different stones in it. And he said, just put this inside. And then he said, put other crystals and things in there and stones. And he told me what to do, and I got that. And then I was walking around Kathmandu by the stupa, and I see these two monks going in from one store to the next, and they were also looking for stones. I'm going to follow them. I followed them. They had no idea I was right in back of them, and they just looked through like big bags of stones, like semi-precious stones. And they looked, no, and they go to the next store. Then they finally found a store. They took a whole bag, and they left. And I said, I'll have what they bought. And I just copied them and put it into the treasure vase. And then he said you had to get 5 different kinds of metals, like steel, copper, gold, and what other kind of metals are there? Silver, iron. So I went to the hardware store and got iron, like a piece of iron, and then old jewelry for silver and some gold. And then somehow I kind of figured out copper, and I put it all in there. And that was the treasure vase. Anyway, did I read this? The symbol of wealth deities, it overflows with inexhaustible jewels. Treasure vases are often placed or buried at key sites as offerings to the earth protectors, and to promote peace and abundance. So we all have to get some treasure vases and plant them around the earth. The next one is golden yellow peaceful Tara, number 12, harmony and balance. And she carries a knot of eternity, which is a symbol of the Buddha's mind. It evokes continuity, love and harmony, and endless space. This is a very ancient symbol that dates back to at least 2,500 years ago in the Indus Valley. So that was kind of easy to get. Then the number 13 is dark red wrathful Tara, protects against war. And that was an open-pointed vajra. So usually when you see a vajra, the prongs on top are closed, but this one was like open-pointed, and no one had one. No one knew what that was. And what she does is, my color is dark red. I hold a blue utpata flower in my left hand, on which stands an open-pointed vajra. From my body and the vajra comes flaming and sparking wisdom light, protecting all sentient beings from obstacles related to war. If you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. So this is something that is a protector from war. And my friend, got me in touch with someone from Nepal after I came home from Nepal, and he sent me this huge open-pointed vajra, and apparently it's an implement that's used in Japanese Vajrayana Buddhism. And that's a picture of it if you can see it. Can you see it? It's pretty extraordinary. So in any case, what? Oh, the other side. So the red wrathful Tara holding an open-pointed vajra. So maybe if we call upon her, she says, please protect me and all sentient beings from the horrors of war. Place an indestructible shield around us for protection against negativity, obstacles, and disturbances. Please bless us with peace and harmony. Thank you, Tara. Okay, Tara number 14 holds a pestle, and it symbolizes, its symbolism is the concentration or crushing of various experience and subtle negativities into one taste. So this Tara will shatter the 7 underworlds with the sound of hum. And it protects us from confusion, our most subtle obstacles, those that arise from the misleading influences, by crushing and transforming them into wisdom. So sometimes even when we're a great practitioner, we have like little subtle energies that are misleading, and this is what this Tara does. So when you're in retreat or you're practicing, you could say, Tara number 14, please protect my mind from subtle, misleading influences. Tara number 15 is a Tara, a white, red, rich white, peaceful Tara, and it's for purification. And what she holds is like this. It's called a labum or a bumpa. Tibetan is the bumpa, and labum is more of a Sanskrit word, I think. And you often see this in ritual practices. If you've ever gone to some Tibetan ceremony, they walk around with the labum and they put some saffron water in your right hand and you drink it for purification. And what this does is a slim vase with a narrow neck from my body in the labrum emanates light and purifying water, protecting sentient beings by washing away their greatest errors and emotional obstructions. If you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. And she says, destroying great evil. So she destroys great evil. So it's symbolic when the water comes around. You say, why am I doing this? It's symbolic for purification. And then Tara number 16 is a red peaceful Tara, and she protects from enemies, and she holds a double Vajra, a double Dorje. The double Dorje is the emblem of Buddha Amoghasiddhi, Lord of the Karma family, and the Dhyani Buddha of the northern direction, whose consort is Tantric sadhanas is Tara. The double Dorje represents all-accomplishing wisdom. Tara number 17 is orange peaceful Tara, and she protects from violence. And what she holds is a stupa or a chotran. The stupa, we often see these large stupas in Asia, or sometimes you see them in the United States. And like we have the stupa, great stupa of Dharmakaya in Rocky Mountain Shambhala Center, Shambhala Mountain Center, for Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. But this is a stupa that is held in the hand, a small stupa. And what it does is it acts as an object, a hand object. It represents the enlightened mind of the Buddha. And she protects from violence. Tara number 18 is a rabbit-marked moon, protects from poison. So let's say somehow you don't feel well, you've eaten poisonous food, or your mind is full of poison, you can call on Tara number 18. The rabbit-marked moon, one of the Jataka tales, the recounting of the Buddha Shakyamuni's previous lifetimes, tells of his time as a compassionate hare that sacrificed his life to save others. Legend says that Indra, in honor of this noble activity, placed the image of the rabbit on the moon. But this rabbit-marked moon is a cleansing the bodies of sentient beings, dispelling all sickness from outer and inner poisons, cleansing poisons from the environment, and protecting infants and children. So this is what she does, and it's a very powerful Tara. And I often get this for people who are sick. Tara number 19 is the peaceful white umbrella. Protects from nightmares and obstacles to our Dharma practice. And often when you see Tibetan teachers walking, there's a big white umbrella that someone's holding over their head. But what does that symbolize? A symbol that Tara is held in the highest respect as an individual deity practiced separately from the assembly of Taras. She is portrayed with 1,000 arms, feet, and heads, and is completely covered with 1 billion eyes. So Tara sees everything. Her left hand is a white umbrella. From the body, her body and the white umbrella come vajras, weapons, and sparking light, protecting sentient beings from nightmares, arguments, disputes, violence, curses, and hostility to the Dharma. So that's a pretty powerful Tara. In our play this summer, we didn't have beautiful young Tibetan girls that we thought we were going to have. We had little kids that were given to us at the school, age 5 to 11, and most of them were boys. So I was like, where are my girls? Well, the girls didn't want to be in the Tara play. They wanted to do something else. So I looked at all these kids and I was like, you know, this is a gender-neutral play. And Tara has no gender. And the kids were little, so they just went along with it. And the way we picked the parts for these kids was we put little numbers in a baggie, and the kids came in, picked a number, and that's the Tara that they were. And the one that was Tara number 20 was this little, like a 6 or 7-year-old little boy, a very strong little boy. He picked the white umbrella. And we had 2 umbrellas. One was the white umbrella that we use. Well, this is the umbrella that we use for the photo shoot. It's like a very sweet umbrella that came from Thailand. I found it at the Rubin Museum. I was like, this is perfect. But we had one made in Nepal that when it came, I said to the man in Nepal, I just don't want a big umbrella, something small. It was a huge, huge, huge white umbrella with like tassels and everything, like a whole design. And needless to say, we did not use that in the photo shoot. But for the play, I said to this little boy, well, we have 2 umbrellas, and when the props come, you can choose which one you want. One is smaller and one is big. He said, I want the big one, the big one. And then they all wanted to know which was the most powerful Tara, which one was the most powerful implement. So anyway, he holds this umbrella up in the prop room that we had, and he was so proud because he held it up and he was like big and strong. Anyway, he was an amazing white umbrella. And for the performance, he was like twirling it around. It was amazing. Anyway, next is, that's Tara number 19, the white umbrella. Protects from nightmares and obstacles to our Dharma practice. Tara number 20 is Saffron Peaceful Tara. Protects from contagious diseases. Now, she holds a zamatog in her left hand. I had no idea what a zamatog was or what it looked like. So everyone I asked, nobody knew. But this man in Nepal knew, and he sent it to us. And the girl this little 5-year-old girl played Tara number 20, because that's the number that she got. And we dressed her up like this little golden doll. And the zamatog was like this big, and we filled it with chocolate because we decided that chocolate was a very powerful medicine. But anyway, and we gave it out at the end of the performance. But she says, in English, I am known as Tara, wearing the leaves of a tree in her mountain retreat. My color is saffron. I hold a blue pati flower in my left hand, on which stands a zamatog, a container filled with medicinal substances. From my body and the container radiates light, protecting all sentient beings by dispelling epidemics and deadly illnesses, and bringing external and internal health. So if you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. Homage, Mother, whose eyes are the sun and full moon, shining with brilliant light, who dispels deadly disease and restores health, with 2 Tara and twice spoken Hara. Please protect me and all sentient beings from all contagious diseases, plagues, and fevers, and grant us excellent health, both internally and externally. Thank you, Tara. And here it says, a zamatog is a container filled with medicinal substances. Epidemic sickness, both in humans and domestic animals, has always been one of the most feared occurrences in India and Tibet. The ability of the sun's light to dispel contagion is honored in all medical systems. Tara's right eye, like the sun, has the power to destroy sickness. Her left eye, like the moon, brings health. So with her right eye, she beams out the sun of destroying sickness, and her left eye she restores health. That's a very powerful Tara. And when you're sick, you can always call on her. Now the last one, white peaceful Tara for long life. And the white peaceful Tara holds in her left hand, she holds a golden fish. A single golden fish symbolizes great realization and the ability to liberate beings from samsara, suffering. A pair of golden fish is one of the 8 auspicious symbols, but in this iconography it's one golden fish. Getting back to the farmer's market, when I went there, on the table, there was the golden fish, leaping into space on a little stand. I was like, I can't even believe it. There was the golden, because I was thinking, where am I going to get a golden fish? And there it was. And here she says, in my left hand, on which stands a golden fish, from my body and the golden fish emanates wisdom light, filling sentient beings with life force and protecting all sick animals. If you need my help, just supplicate me with the following. And she says, the power to pacify duns, evil influences that harm our health and longevity. So it isn't even sometimes that we're not going to have a long life. Maybe we might encounter some inauspicious coincidence, like a dun, evil influences, like let's say your friends wanted, do something like drugs or whatever, and you decide, well, should I, shouldn't I? And then you could say, Tara, what do you think? And Tara's like, go home. Your wisdom light of emptiness, clarity, and unceasing compassion emanates out and summons back to us. So it emanates out and summons back to us all beings, the energy, vitality, and inner radiance we have lost. Because often when we're sick, we get weak, and we've lost that inner strength. So she's going to give it back to us. Turi, most excellent mother, please grant us a long and healthy life. Thank you for your help, dear Tara. So those are the 21 Taras, but I have a feeling I missed one. I have a feeling I missed the sword. So I don't remember teaching about the sword. Tara number 7. I don't think I taught about her. Did I? Okay. Perfect. Ignorance and severs and destroys enemies and demons and the enemies of realization. Blazing fire is a symbol of Rigpa. Oh, that's right, I read that. And I found that flaming sword on the table in the farmer's market. So this is Tara. Let me see what else we're going to say, and then we'll have a discussion. Okay, the last thing I was going to say was, after making these cards, we found that they were very magical, because you just pick a card and then you get the reading that you need. You get the healing that you need. So it's pretty amazing. Okay, and every day you can say, well, which Tara am I today? Or which Tara can I call upon today for help? Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I see that.
Wait.
To me, I'm not very experienced with the traditions or the terminology, but it seems that Tara is someone that you love because you see her and have integrated her into so many parts of your life. And I want to thank you for being here and for doing this.
Thank you.
I don't have a specific question, maybe later.
Thank you.
I'm just sitting here in awe listening to you, because we've worked on this for so many years, and it's just such a blessing to listen to every aspect of each Tara, and for the rest of the world to hear about it. Because it's like, in a way, it's been a secret, and now it's not a secret any longer.
Yeah. Tara wants to be known.
Cheeks coming out.
She's just not a pretty girl. She's more than that. Yeah, we're all looking at the Tara.
There isn't
Tanka.
one tanka that we were able to find that had all the symbols of Tara.
The implements, yeah, the sacred
None of them.
implements.
I can't even. We looked and looked and looked and looked and could never find it.
Yeah, I know, that was the most amazing part of the journey.
So the investigations that have been done, that have come to fruition, I applaud.
It was a work among many people.
What are the most striking events or, really events that you've seen Tara bring you back towards her, if you'd be willing to share?
Well, one of the things that Khenpo Tsultrim Gyamtso, this is our teacher here that lives in Nepal now, he said, one of the stories that he told was that once he was in Asia and he was on a boat going across a body of water, and the boat capsized and he was drowning, and he called out for Tara to save him, to help him, and she pulled him out of the water and brought him to safety. That's what he said. And for me, what? Right after the photo shoot, I just found that anybody that was connected to that photo shoot had some really amazing good luck. Like my daughter is a makeup artist, and she also was like working on a project which she, like her skincare line, and she needed like a different type of top to the bottles, and she couldn't figure out where to get them. And she said the very next day after the photo shoot, which took hours and hours and hours to do, she said it wasn't even like she had an idea or a memory. It was like someone really came to her and guided her into a closet where she kept, in the back of this drawer that she had gotten over a year back, these certain tops. And that's exactly what she needed and what she was looking for. It's like she was guided just to go there. And she said it was the strangest thing came over her. She just got up and went there. And I just find that when I stop to think about asking for help, like sometimes when we have problems, like we're in confusion or we're upset about something, it's very rare that we just stop for a minute and say, okay, let me ask for help. Like the other day, we were going on the bus. We were going up on Sunday morning. The bus was Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. The bus was taking off at 2 o'clock, and I was sitting in the front. And Sasha called me, and she said, well, I just got off the subway, and I'm going to be there soon. I said, the bus is leaving at 2 o'clock, and it's like 1 minute to 2. The bus driver, and I'm like hoping there's a delay. The bus driver gets in, sits down, and shuts the door, and I said to him, driver, my friend has just called. She's walking down the stairs. Can you wait a minute? And he said, well, the minute they tell me to leave, I have to pull away. And the minute I pull away from the gate, I can't open the door again. So I stopped, closed my eyes, and I said, Tara, we need a miracle. We need a miracle of a delay. And there were two workers, the two people that were supposed to tell him to move. They were standing inside these glass doors of the Port Authority, and they were having a conversation. They totally forgot about the driver. They totally forgot about telling him to take off.
And I arrived, and they said, we've been waiting for you.
They said that? You're kidding. I didn't know that. So there was our Tara miracle.
Yeah, they basically said, okay, we were waiting for you.
That's amazing, because they didn't know anything about you. So then Sasha got on the bus, and he took off. So she made the bus. And
well, I want to tell a story. about, you ask these questions. Rochelle was at the court for something that had occurred in her life, and she really, I wanted to be there, and I knew that I wasn't sure I can get there on time, as she's implied. So what happened was, I sat in the court outside waiting for her to come out, and it was like an hour and a half I sat there, and I couldn't go in. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to leave. So I left, and I walked around, and I went into different places, and I said, okay, I'm going to just get on the train now. And I get on the train, and this person sitting next to me goes, you look like my friend Sasha? And it was just a moment when we just could not believe something like that.
She just sat right next to me on the subway. Got into the same car and sat right next to me, which is very unusual.
And she really needed a friend at that moment.
Yeah. So, not to make it sound too theistic, because, I don't know, it could sound too theistic, but I guess it's kind of like a magical thing, but not really, because I just feel like Tara's really here to help us. And when we did that performance, when we formed the Tara mandala, like each kid came up and spoke their line, like they held the card and read, and then they sat down, and then afterwards we formed a Tara mandala, and all the children stood up with their objects, and then you really saw the energy come down, that Tara had been brought down to Earth, or to our planet, or to our space, and that she was ready to help, and all of this needed to be shown.
And you did a lasang.
Oh yes, and we did a lasang the day before. We set up the space with the children. Sasha came with her friend. We set up the whole space with beautiful white fabric for purification. We did a lasang. We did a ritual. We made a shrine and brought out all the objects and put them all in order. And the children carried their objects onto the shrine. So everything was we created a sacred space for her, for the energy to come down. And because of the purity of these little children, boys and girls, because enlightenment is a neutral, non-gender, we were able to, in a very sweet way. And what happened was, I had this image in my mind that we would have 21 beautiful teenage girls. But Tara, we did that with the photo shoot. And then we made those cards just as like someone wanted to make a donation to our theater company for the show, then they would get the cards as a thank you, but they were not for sale. But for the performance, it was about bringing in the energy of the children. And even though I tried to do it the way I had the vision, everything had to be changed for what Tara's vision was. It had nothing to do with us. We were just implementing what she wanted. So, anyone else? Okay, so I think that's about it. I don't know what else. Well, we were going to sing the Tara song. We couldn't get the CD to play, but I could just sing it. Do you know the words? I have to apologize in advance. Noble liberator Tara, together with your retinue, please remember your past promises with your pure love, and dispel all my fears and all fears of sentient beings, and dispel all my fears and all fears of sentient beings, pacify sickness, harmful spirits, and adverse conditions. Make harmonious conditions perfectly abundant, and bestow upon us common and supreme cities, and bestow upon us common and supreme cities. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu De Soa. 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 May the deity whose practice I perform in all my lifetimes, who embodies the 3 times Victor's enlightened activity, who has one face, 2 arms, is blue-green in color, swift, peaceful, and brave, may the Great Mother holding a blue lotus flower make everything auspicious.